Okay, guys, happy Monday. Today we're interviewing Tim Salau, Mr. Future of Work, so I'm excited. And he has a lot to share. And this is my first time really getting to interview him too, so I'm pretty pumped. Oh, there he is. Hi.
Hey, hey
Hey,
there.
how are
Hey.
you?
By the way, do I pronounce it Tara or Tara?
Tara.
Tara, hey Tara.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to get to talk to you a little bit finally and for you to share all your wisdom.
Of course, Tara.
Thank
Even
you for making
I
time.
don't feel like I have any wisdom, but I'll share the few that I have.
Yes, I anything is wisdom, just how you look at it. Awesome. So we'll get started. So if you could just take a minute and introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, a little bit about uh where you went to school, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, hey all. My name is Tim Salau. I am the CEO of Guide, the bite-sized skills training platform for
Mm,
remote distributed teams. And I am originally from Nigeria,
mhm,
but I was born in Nigeria, but I grew up in Houston, Texas. And I was thankful enough to attend Texas Tech University as a psychology major, where I got my
mm.
bachelor's. And I attended UT Austin as a master's student, where I got my information studies degrees.
Okay. Did you get your master's right after your undergrad?
I got my master's right after my undergrad, immediately after.
Okay. And how was that switch from psychology to information?
It was a great switch. In fact, I was
Yeah.
really interested in getting to design and
Mm,
product, so that's really what led me to go into UT and start working in product management. And my information studies degree was just a way for me to continue getting my feet wet and learn more and meet people when I was living in Austin, Texas,
mhm.
and just develop my skills.
And
What
so,
about you?
oh, me, we're interviewing you. But very quick, I'm finishing my degree at the Milwaukee School of Engineering and Industrial Engineering, but I'm just testing things out right now, and
Yeah,
we'll see
yeah,
where I
yeah.
go. But
I love that. I love that. That's
thanks.
usually the case when you're in college.
Yeah, the world is too big for me to choose right now,
Yeah.
so I need to figure it out. But I also have a lot of time to try a lot of things. Um, so going off of when you finished your master's, how was that transition into industry? Did you go into industry? Did you start your own thing right away?
I did. I went into
Okay.
industry after I got my master's degree, and my first role was with Microsoft.
Okay.
And I hated the team that I was on because my
Mhm.
boss did not care about employee growth or career growth.
Oh,
And I don't think he
okay.
really cared about investing in my career personally.
Mm,
So I actually left. And I remember right before I left, I walked into my boss's office and I tell him, look, I don't believe that this is the place for me. I don't believe that you're interested in my career growth. What are you going to do about it? I ask him, and he looks directly at me. He fidgets with his round glasses, and he's like sitting in front of his really bright window that's where the sun is shining in his white office. And he tells me, it's not my job to, you know, to help you develop in your career. And at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely don't want to work with you or on this team because the
mm,
culture is wrong. And, I left Microsoft a few weeks later. And I think ever since then, I've just been really highly focused on building the future I want to see. After
mm,
that, I had a short stint with WeWork. And then after, I left WeWork, I actually started, well, not even after I left, I was already building Guide when I joined
mm.
WeWork. But after left WeWork, I went into Guide full time.
Could you tell us a little bit about Guide?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
Guide is the bite-sized skills training platform for enterprise remote teams. Initially, we started as a life skills training application
Mm,
for high school students, but eventually we realized that that wasn't a big enough market for us and that we were already building enterprise grade infrastructure and we were already building a powerful platform for learning. We rather go into software as a service and into
mm.
the enterprise space and leverage Guide as a enterprise grade solution for learning and development. So Guide can help enterprise teams with onboarding in addition to sales enablement training and marketing training as well.
Okay. Awesome. So going a little bit, I guess, back, so what prompted you to start Guide?
I think for us, it was just a passion for my co-founder and I. It was this passion that we had around learning
Mm-hmm.
and education. I think my co-founder and I were both immigrants, and we both understand that if you aren't always learning, or if you don't have, the right people teaching you the ropes, guiding you, perhaps, you won't be as successful as you want to be. So it was that initial passion that him and I shared for learning that really allowed us to develop Guide into now what we consider one of the hottest technology SaaS startups in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
we're launching in a week, and we're incredibly excited to start, showing Guide to the world.
That's so exciting. I'm so glad I get to talk to you before your launch. I feel like it's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, we're excited. We're excited. I think it's going to be a really positive launch. It's going to be
Mhm.
a gradual beta launch, but it's going to be pretty positive.
Mhm. So looking back on like your studies and your experiences at Microsoft, WeWork and whatnot, could you think back to a time, like one of your toughest times where you faced a lot of adversity and kind of how you got through that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank
So
you.
shout out to everyone that's tuning in shortly um, from my network. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. So one of the biggest things I think being an entrepreneur and building a company, even through a recession, every day is a fight. For me personally, a lot of the work that I'm doing now with building Guide, I've learned on the go, but also every day I would say that every day you come up against the roadblock. But I think what makes a successful entrepreneur or a successful leader is having grit.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, one of the challenges I faced when we started building Guide was, I don't think I knew exactly how to pitch a product or, how to build a company, but because I was passionate about it and because I have a background in designing and I've always been focused on growing as a leader, I pick up a lot of things along the way that has allowed me to succeed and has allowed us to have an awesome advisory board and allowed us to actually have a product that we're going to be bringing to market. So I think for me, I feel as if we like at one point we pivoted Guide, and we
Mm-hmm.
pivoted Guide because we felt as if we were trying so hard to build a product for the education tech market when in reality there was a bigger market for us to go into. But I don't see that opportunity when we pivoted as a failure point, but more importantly, I see it as a pivot point. We
Mm-hmm.
learned, right? And we realized there's actually something better for us out there. So, I think when in the work that I've been doing in building Guide, it's always been every month I've learned something new. Every day I get smarter, and that's truly been a joy for me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I love that you're making lemonade out of lemons and you're
Right?
keeping it real with entrepreneurship. So it's true. I feel like, yeah, every day is just like you either choose to do it or you don't. But like the world's gonna keep going anyway, so you might as well do it.
Agreed, agreed.
Um, have you and how have you um or have you faced any like adversity with being a black man in the
Mm.
world of entrepreneurship?
You know what? I haven't. I haven't in terms of what we've been building in Guide. I haven't came across anyone
Mhm.
that has made me feel less than as an entrepreneur and
Mhm.
as a black founder, which I'm thankful for. But I do
Mhm.
believe that it's something that a lot of black entrepreneurs and founders face when they're building a business. And I think that's why it's really important that we educate ourselves on how to build businesses, how to raise capital, how to build startups, how to get into tech. And that's why I'm such an advocate and proponent of helping underrepresented people, people of color, get into tech.
Mhm.
Because for me, I didn't get into tech through the traditional path. I went to great schools, but how I learned about technology, how I learned how to build a company, how I learned how to design, I taught
Mhm.
myself most of all of that. And the schools I went to gave me added credibility, but I really taught myself how to do most of what I do. So, and to a degree, I'm a mixture of self-taught, but also, I have the higher ed backing. But the reality
Mhm.
is that if you want to be successful in technology, you just have to be willing to do the work, to
Mhm.
learn, to experiment, to find community. And I'm a huge advocate of helping people do that. So I'm thankful I haven't faced any steep challenges or any, bias or prejudice that
Mhm.
I know of. But I know it's not the same for other black founders.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna ask,
Hey,
do you,
Monale.
how do you think your experience at Microsoft has like um, played a role in Guide? I feel like you had such a like powerful, not great, but like powerful experience there, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering like how that translated.
Well, no, it was a powerful experience, good and bad, right? I met a lot of people there who I'm still friends with today. But I also got to see things firsthand on how do you build an enterprise grade company. And
Mm-hmm.
some of those learning points I still remember in how I'm building Guide, even though we don't want to build the same culture as a Microsoft. We want to build our own culture. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it shaped me in realizing that, I shouldn't just settle for what I have in front of me. But also, I should always think big and not be afraid to be bold in thinking big. And that you can always build to your potential. Like you don't have to just settle for good enough. And for me, it was always kind of like a not even a it was to a degree a dream to work in tech, and almost like it was almost a huge goal and a milestone for me to work with a company like Microsoft. But the reality is that that wasn't going to be my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lot more ahead for me, and I think it took that experience at Microsoft and being and facing adversity and realizing like what, this was just a part of my story. This was just a part of my legacy, and I'm ready for bigger and better things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think ever since then, I've been always hungry for more and in building more in the process and realizing that like, everything does have its timestamp, but like commit to the things
Mm-hmm.
that you love doing, commit to doing stuff that fulfills you versus settling for things that do not.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I feel like a lot of people need to hear that. Especially, I was just talking to a friend, and he was saying like, I could work here and save up money, or I could try to like, freelance. And it's the difference between just like be hungry and like go for it. There's like the safe option, or there's like the risky option, but
Yeah,
bigger risk, bigger reward. So
100%, 100%.
awesome. So I have one last question for you. Thank you again for giving us your time and everything. Um, But I like to ask, what is just like one piece of advice that you would either maybe go back and share with yourself as you were like in school, or just in general that you want to share with us today?
Yeah, I think one big piece of advice I would share with myself if I were to go back to school or with the audience that's watching is that, you can design your life. You can design your life,
Mm-hmm.
you can design your career. I think life is not meant to always be perfect, but you can design the situation that you want to be in if
Mm-hmm.
you have the conviction and you just do it. You just do it. You just do the things that you say you want to do for yourself to live a more happy and fulfilled life or better serve your community or the world. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big proponent on design because I'm a designer by training and by trade. So you could design your life. And I think everyone should have a lot of passion and conviction and being able to design their day, design, you know, you know, how they want to see their career or when they want to get
Mm-hmm.
married. Like you don't have to follow anyone's blueprint. You can create your own. And I want to really shine a light on that because I think so many people often feel as if they have to follow other people's blueprints and make
Mm-hmm.
decisions based on other people's expectations. But I don't believe that's the best way to live life. So that would be my word of advice to myself and the people watching.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tim, for sharing with us your journeys and also just like your pieces of advice. I'm really excited to share this out on other platforms as well. And I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you, Tara, for having me on. You're amazing, and I really appreciate you for bringing me on.
Of course. Good luck next week.
Ah, thank you. Appreciate you,
I'll
Tara.
stay tuned.
All right, will
Have a
do.
good day.
Bye.
Bye.